Good afternoon. My name's Wendy Boglary and this is my dining room, and all the paper around it is all stuff to do with the upcoming election for Redland City Council. I'm a bit bewildered because this is the year the Redlands planning scheme is going to be revised. It is only revised every 6 years, and once it's printed, that's it. Any application, development, etc. that comes in, once it complies with that Redlands planning scheme, it's approved. So it's a pretty important document. To me, it's the issue that this election is all based around, and while I was sitting here trying to work out what message should I be getting out to my community, what has bewildered me is that no other candidate yet, and there's been quite a bit of information in our letterbox, no one has mentioned the Redlands planning scheme. I've put out my first one, and admittedly I didn't mention it either, but sitting here really makes me realise this is the year of the planning scheme, and it is the real issue. So what's the planning scheme? I didn't know much about it either until I got into council in 2008, and now I understand its importance. Every block, every area in the city has a zoning, and that zoning totally dictates what can be done on it. So you can see from the colours that the normal residential blocks, like most of us live in, all up here in the upper part of the city, that's just residential. The green, obviously, for conservation, like our beautiful Jeff Skinner. And then, of course, down south, in our beautiful Redland Bay area, Sheldon area, we've got those large parcels of land that we all like to go for drives through. And only this morning, a lady said on her way to work, she intentionally drives through there when she comes from out of city for her job because it's worth to die for. Well, I don't want to die for it, but I tell you what, I'm pretty riled up, and my passion's there certainly to protect it. The importance of this planning scheme is, if, for example, I owned a large parcel of land down here and I had bought it to make money from, what I would have to be doing now is lobbying candidates, lobbying the council throughout 2012 to try and get my zoning changed, because as rural I can have minimal development. That's why, to me, the planning scheme is definitely the issue for this election, because this council will be changing it. The last 4 years we haven't been able to touch it because it's only revised for 6 years. So the last one was 2006, and we've had to stick to it. Various applications have come in while I've been representing you that, believe me, I wasn't happy with. Something in particular that I would like investigated this year is the amount of car parking required for units. At the moment it's so much a car park per bedroom. It's not enough. Developers want to use most of the land naturally to increase their yield by having another unit. Therefore, there's not enough car parks supplied, and they're out on the street. This is one example how the Redlands planning scheme directly affects you. Also, you might have your land rezoned without even knowing. In 2006, they did do community consultation, but as a resident, I didn't know. I wasn't aware. I had no idea of the impact it was going to have on me. It will be my job this year to ensure that everybody, especially in my division, if they are going to be impacted, will be notified. At the moment, if a subdivision or units or something is going to be built, I do just a little letterbox drop and I go around and I let you all know, because you have different types of applications. They can be code accessible or impact accessible. If they're code accessible, that means they're a tick and flick. Agree with the planning scheme and hey, Bob's your uncle, it goes through. The next door neighbour won't even know until the bulldozers move in. I have tried all the time to go out and give those little letterbox drops, even if you don't have the right under the planning scheme to put in a submission. At least you are aware, and at least you had a chance to voice your opinion on things. That is why the candidates coming into this election, you have to know. Not just their face from the signs, not just their face from the letterbox, but you have to know them. In 2008, we said we would increase community consultation, and we did that by starting the Redlands conversations. In every division we held them, and I endeavoured to get to as many as I can, because decisions I make aren't just for Ormiston and Wellington Point, they're for everywhere. So I felt it was my responsibility to go around and listen and talk to as many residents as I can. And now it is my responsibility to listen to what you told us. And that is all here. Has your candidate mentioned this to you? Your community plan, where several thousand of you told us what you wanted? It's all divided into various sections. And I tell you what, you're a pretty smart community. Just look at what we're asking for. Healthy natural environment, green living, embracing the bay, new planning, wise planning and design. Well, that is new, isn't it, in some instances? When you look at what it is, this is all your words, just put into print. This is what you have asked for. You have asked us to be sensible, to be responsible, to listen to everybody. There are various groups. You have the actual people who own the land and their rights. You have the developers who usually are after the highest yield financially. You have the environmental groups who want to save some of our beautiful city, the parts that are left. The parts that this lady only this morning in her speech said, you have an environment here to die for. And she's from outside. And you also have the community at large. People in Wellington Point, Ormiston, well, we don't just live here. We go to Cleveland, we go to Capalaba, we go to Stratty, we go down to the Clay Island, we go everywhere within our city. So what affects them affects us. We need responsible planning. We need to make all our decisions based on how it is going to affect our community's lifestyle. So what else did you say you wanted? Retention of the city's distinctive character. That's what attracted me to Redlands 25 years ago when my parents moved here. And I love the area. I love the red soil. And anybody that comes here, they love it. And quite often my friends are very jealous, and some of them have even moved here. We have an enviable lifestyle. Where else do you have beach, bay and bush? Where else do you have koalas? Sometimes in your own backyard. And don't have a go at me saying, oh yeah, there she goes, the greenie. Look at the economic benefits of it, for goodness sakes. Look at the international tourists that come in here. Look at when Oprah was interviewed. What did her person say? I've patted a koala, I can go home now. Billions of dollars are input into our local community, into our national communities, because of our wildlife. Because there isn't much left in some other countries. They come here to see it. They come here for our natural beauty. So why are we being ridiculous and destroying it? Let's get responsible. Let's make sure every candidate knows what you have asked for. Wise planning, responsible planning. Let's make sure your candidate isn't going to colour in what someone that's lobbying them or perhaps supporting them might want. Let's make sure the colours that get coloured in are what we together decide on. We have to communicate with our community on this Redlands planning scheme. There are many, many other issues, I know that. We have finance. Well, I've got 2 reports just here saying we're on the right track. I'll put them up on my website. I think they're already there actually. I'll do a video on them later. I'll do a video on as many of the issues that I can. But do not get diverted. This election is about the Redlands planning scheme. It is the most important document a councillor has input into. Your councillor, your representative, has to be your voice. Not a voice for whoever supported them and helped them get elected. Your voice. So make sure you get to know your councillor, not just their face from some sign, but get to know their agenda. Sorry, I'm a bit passionate, but I am so fearful. We have to make sure our lifestyle remains. That's what we love about Redlands. I've got 3 children who've had a fantastic life growing up here. And when they finish roaming the world and doing university and everything else, I'd like to think Redlands will still be here for them to come back to. Just remember, you've told us what you wanted. make sure your candidate will put it into here. I will endeavour to put as much information as I can on my website, www.wendyboglary.com.au. Please join me in this journey to protect Redlands, ensure we have sustainable, wise planning. The planning scheme is the real issue here. Don't be diverted. I'm not even going to answer to much of the rot that's out there because I'm not going to be diverted. I'm going to do the job you've asked me to do. Thank you.